What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Natsu, and I'm here with
D-Nag.
Per usual.
Per usual. And this is episode whatever it is now of the DNN show. And today, what are we talking about, sir?
We are talking about the great video games.
Yes, indeed. And today, first of all, up on Video Game Talks, we are talking about the ever-elusive Elder Scrolls 6. When we're probably going to be 40 by the time it eventually comes out on the Xbox 8000?
Xbox 720p with the Walk 3000.
I guess.
Yep.
Because they've taken so long after, what was it, a couple years ago that they released the teaser trailer?
4 years ago.
4 years ago already?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. So 4 years ago, you released a trailer real quick of a real quick cinematic glimpse.
Looking freaking beautiful.
Looking great. Say Elder Scrolls 6, and then now we're going to be waiting for the next 12 more years until it finally comes out.
And from what I hear, though, they're maxing out everything you can do in the game, such as the map, caves, dungeons, missions. There's even going to be talks of a political system where you can even vote.
That'd be crazy.
I'm excited to see how that goes, because I can honestly say I hope there's a mission where you get to rig the votes.
That would be fun.
Because I'm definitely doing that.
Well, no kidding.
Add a lot of anarchy.
Or at least maybe if you kind of don't. Sometimes maybe you have the option where you don't have to do that, where it's like one of those things where it's like...
You could and you don't have to.
I don't care.
Right. Kind of like the whole... Elder Scrolls 5 Dark Brotherhood storyline. Like, you can either kill Astrid and the Dark Brotherhood, and that's that.
Yeah.
Or you join the Dark Brotherhood, and then that quest line
never ends.
That's
true, I suppose. And maybe they have a whole like year system built into it too. Maybe where like you don't have whoever gets voted in as whatever.
Right, like maybe it happens like every 2 years in the game.
Yeah.
And then like
time progresses like a little faster, so you're not spending like your actual entire life sitting on the game, but like it seems like a couple hours maybe is a day.
Right, kind of like the whole weight system, like in the time system that they have now, kind of like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Every 7 seconds is a minute, or 20 seconds, or whatever.
You could probably do it that way. Which is where it's like, a game like this, of course it's going to take so long, mainly because this game is probably going to be ridiculously big, and I'm sure the map is going to be absolutely huge, which is going to be nice. But seriously, I know it takes a while to make a game, but give us something.
Right. And I can't wait to see what the DLCs for this are going to be. Because you could go back to Tamriel, which was, as everyone knows, or Cyrodiil in Oblivion. Or you could honestly just sit there and say, hey, we're having a DLC where it goes to Tamriel or Cyrodiil. Or you could go back to Skyrim and do a quest there. Yeah. Because I don't really know if they've announced what period of time this will take place in. I want to assume it'll be ways away from the Dragonborn timeline, like in the future. But I also think it's going to be really different to see Skyrim without dragons, or, as everyone now knows, wyverns.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely a different take on it, considering how haven't they kept like around this close proximity to the same time period, in a sense of like the same like aspect of things. It would be nice to see a different, not like always medieval, but like in the sense of like the later end of medieval, if you could say. Like
what would it be, like the not Renaissance, because that was obviously medieval.
Golden Age, maybe?
I'm thinking Bronze or something.
Yeah, I think the Bronze Age.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see the whole plot behind the main quest line throughout this, because you're going to be in Hammerfell. Everyone has figured that out over the 4 years the trailer's been out, and the interviews that Todd has done. Hopefully we get some funny glitches in the game too, because I mean it is Bethesda, it is Skyrim. There's always some sort of funny glitch.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to be one of those people that beats the main quest line and then starts looking on YouTube to see if anyone's found any glitches somewhere where you can get like hidden chests, or you know, you plop down under the world and you find chests under the world and all that stuff. Because I don't know. I know it's going to be a while that this game is going to be out, because I think the reason Todd is wanting to put so much work into it, and the reason it's going to be released, I want to say 2024, maybe early 2025.
Is how long do you have this game out then before you even consider doing anything else?
Because Elder Scrolls V has been out since 2011, 2012, and it's now 2023. So we're kind of nearing that. Okay, we've played this a numerous amount of times. Still a great game. Same with
good
Oblivion.
Game.
And
you get to the point where it's kind of like, okay, you've ridden it long. You've rode the coattails and the money of Skyrim long enough,
right?
Where you need to start doing something else. Where it's like, okay, give us something else.
And then I honestly feel like they did very well with that idea, like, okay, let's give them something different, because they released a mobile game where it's like a trading card game. I think that was Elder Scrolls Legends, if I'm not mistaken, and then they released Elder Scrolls Online, which, you know, they switched up the controls for it, so it feels like a totally different way of playing Skyrim. For the base game, Elder Scrolls 6, I hope they keep the controls the same as Elder Scrolls 5. Because I feel like if you want to continue with Elder Scrolls Online, keep those controls for that, but keep the base game controls the same. I mean, maybe switch just tiny pieces of it up. That's not going to throw everybody completely off.
But give it a new feel.
Right. And I mean, I can't wait to see some of the player homes in the game that you can save your money, septums or whatever the currency might be out for. And
that'll be nice.
See how the movements and everything are and all that stuff.
That'll be nice. Definitely. And where you could also go into a same aspect of, I think, to go off topic, but I think even you could say the same thing about the Assassin's Creed games.
Oh yeah.
Where, as far as anything goes with the one coming out, the Assassin's Creed Mirage is going more towards like the stealth specific compared to the RPG type, because they're nice, but they're like, it's odd to even call it an Assassin's Creed game anymore.
Because it just doesn't have that Assassin's Creed like Ezio collection feel to it.
Yeah, but where in that type of games, it would be really, really nice, I think, to see a modern day Assassin's Creed game.
Right, and
where you see like actually, or give it like maybe even not even a modern day, but like maybe a futuristic type.
Right.
Where, I mean, futuristic...
Like not really even cyberpunk, just really. More modern, like cars and office building. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, something in between cyberpunk and maybe like in between cyberpunk and Watch Dogs Legion.
Yeah.
But make it specifically like the stealth type of games.
Yeah.
Which I personally think that'd be cool, but don't get me wrong, it's really cool seeing like seeing the history type feels that they have, like, going back and seeing like Assassin's Creed Valhalla came out, and where you see Norway back in that time period,
right?
And then England is where it is, and then you have Assassin's Creed Origins, which is Egypt, which was a really good game too, but it's like...
And then you also got Odyssey too, it takes you back to the Roman Empire period.
And that's where I think you can only go back so far before it's like, okay, you're doing... it. I mean, the whole basis of that point was that the one company is trying to find the secrets of back in the day.
Something like that, yeah.
And that's why they have the whole going back in the past kind of thing where they have the
like
ability to see memories and whatnot.
Yeah, and then it's like a couple of titles that I've seen floating around and an idea that I've seen floating around from the developers of Assassin's Creed. They have been saying that there's going to be Assassin's Creed Hexe, which is apparently German for witch. And I could see that being very interesting, especially with the Assassin's Creed just functions of how the games have been going.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be very interesting to see because it's going to apparently take place around the German witch trials.
Okay.
And so that's why, it has the name Hexe or Hexi or...
I didn't actually hear that.
It. And then I've also heard from the developer, I think it was one of the E3 showcases for Assassin's Creed. They also talked about possibly ending up making a online hub where players can join other players and go to these like smaller worlds.
Okay.
And find like you load up into the hub and you can go to like ancient Egypt or ancient North. I mean, these are just examples, but this is this is what they were talking about pretty much.
That would be
cool. It'd be like an MMO type of thing.
Yeah. And I think that would be kind of interesting to see, and especially with now kind of like how the PS5 runs, where you seamlessly go through stuff, and without having like the slow loading speeds. I think they could really pull that off if they wanted to, but that would be a long game that they'd probably have to invest a lot of time and a lot of resources in. That I feel like nowadays they're kind of getting a little bit lack on. Considering how much time they put into making like these really open world games, where it's like, okay, you're kind of the open world aspects of games in certain kind of areas of games is getting to be a little bit too much.
I think that, and I'm sorry to cut
Oh no,
but I think one game that did the open world mapping for their video game really well, even though I haven't played it. I think I've only seen you play it a little bit, but it was I'm probably gonna mispronounce this, but Ghost of Tsushima?
Oh, Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Or Tsushima, how people have been saying it either way.
Yeah.
That one was good.
Because
it was alright.
Seeing that.
I mean, it was a really good game. Of course, it was a really good game, especially in Japan like that.
Oh yeah.
No, not Japan. Sorry. On the island of Tsushima.
Yeah.
But you can go along that whole island.
Right.
But I mean, like there's some certain aspects, that even in games like that, where I mean that was, as far as I'm concerned, sometimes the combat kind of got a little weird at times, where it's like you have to switch on the fly. You have to switch between the different stances to defend against to attack different types of enemies. But while you're faced with like sometimes it seemed like 12 or 13 guys at the same time, and you're having to fly through one guy at one stance, then a heavy guy comes at you, then you have to switch between here to here, and then a guy with the spear comes at you from this way, then you got to go from here to here.
Right.
Is like it gets a little obnoxious almost, where it's like, okay, I can't use this stance or this stance against this guy, but I can use this against that guy and this against that guy.
Yeah.
And it's okay, but,
I think another reason why Todd is pouring so much time into Elder Scrolls 6 and everything you can do in it is because of... I haven't really heard any talks about a new Fallout game.
Okay.
I know they've mentioned it, but they haven't really discussed what they would be doing, and so I'm thinking they release Elder Scrolls 6, right? That game is going to hold its weight until way later on down the road.
You could probably run that game for another 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
No, I wouldn't say necessarily 20 years. I'd say maybe a 10 or 12.
Yeah. And I mean, in that time, with not having to worry about it, they could work on that new Fallout game. They could take care of Starfield and make sure that's getting the attention it needs, because, Elder Scrolls has already established itself.
Yeah.
And same with Fallout.
Yeah.
If you are a Bethesda fan, those two games have already established themselves, but Starfield is brand new. From what I've heard, it's pretty much Skyrim in space, which to me already sounds fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to personally try it out on my own, see what I think about it. because I think it has really great potential. It's something different. It's not post-apocalyptic. It's not medieval. It's space.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping it gives me the same feeling I had when I first loaded up like games like Halo or Doom or Mass Effect. You know, something that gives me that warm, you know, just that feeling again. And
yeah.
Quite honestly, I mean, with space being the theme around it, I could see like maybe them having you go to like different planets or something like that. I mean, I haven't really looked into it that much. I've heard talks about it, but I haven't personally looked into it that much.
Well, that's where you get almost kind of, if you start getting into that point, do you start almost copying Star Wars at that point? Or is it getting into that area where it's like, okay, this is just a medieval Star Wars, and then it kind of dulls it? Or do you do it a different way where it doesn't feel like one of those, oh, it's just another cop-off of a different game except in a different style? Where you see that quite a bit sometimes, where some games will start copying each other, but in a sense, but then do something a little different, but it's still like, oh, this just feels like this game.
Right. And I mean, I'm hoping, like I said, Starfield gives me that feeling like I'm playing Mass Effect for the first time. I'm not saying I want it to be exactly like it, because I don't. No. I want it to be able to stand out on its own and succeed.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for that feeling that makes me go, okay, you know, I can get behind this. I can play this for hours on end, you know, just sitting here relaxing today. Might as well load up some Starfield and go to town on that. But, I mean, other than that, I think
that's also kind of like when, you know, recently I'm finally getting to playing God of War Ragnarok, but that's where some games like that where you get so interested in that sort of type of air, or almost not time period, no mythology, sorry, I'll say that, because especially Norse mythology, where it's like, okay, they've already done Greek mythology, and he's already done that. They already did very well, very, very well with those games back in the day. But then now now they form, now they go to Norse mythology, where the first God of War in Norse mythology, I'll say, not the official first God of War, but the first God of War in Norse mythology did so well, and then they bring out a type of part of Norse mythology that I can't say has been done, if at all, very few times if at all, is Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Because a lot of, even like games like, I've seen it more and more where it's like, where you've got games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Norse mythology. They talk about Ragnarok. I don't think they talk about Ragnarok very much in that game. I think they kind of play with it when you go into the dreams as Odin.
Yeah.
But they kind of play with it a little bit, but not much. Or you see like some of the computer games that I've seen. Like I can't remember the name of the one that I was playing quite a bit. But it was in that era where you go and fight certain creatures in the forest, but like it's a Norse mythology, the Norse era, where it's like Vikings and whatnot.
Right.
I don't remember what the game of that was. But you get games like that where it's like you get Norse mythology, but you don't get games actually doing a game around Ragnarok.
Right.
Which is really good, and I'm not too far into the game yet, but as far as I've seen, where like a lot of people gave hate to the game, where it's like, oh well Thor doesn't look that good. Thor doesn't look good at all. But where the MCU kind of did their version of Thor, but that's not, if you actually look into Norse mythology and that area, he's actually supposed to look that way, as he does in God of War.
Yeah.
Where it's like those people weren't that big because they were huge. All they really did, aside from, you know, fighting and all that and protecting, was
feasting
quite a bit. And I think actually Valhalla is.
It's a giant feasting hall.
You wake up, go kill some people, you come back and you eat, and you do it all again tomorrow.
Yep.
Until Ragnarok, actually.
Yep.
When I can't pronounce what they call them, but the Einhar or whatever.
I was about to say describe it to me.
Well, the warriors that he uses. The warriors of Odin. But either way.
Shoot. Yeah, I'm not going to pronounce it because I can't. I'm going to butcher it.
Yeah.
But I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about. But like... Yeah.
I'm going to mispronounce it.
But anyway, where it's like... is really interesting to see, where it's like, okay, not very many games play on Ragnarok, where where the two wolves, eat the sun and the moon.
Right.
It's an interesting game.
Drunga.
Yeah. But then I'm curious, even in that franchise, where there were talks of them killing Kratos, like really, really early in the game, and then you play as Atreus and try for a certain portion of the game, and then try to bring Kratos back out of it was I don't remember. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think it was Helheim. You try to get him back from Helheim.
Okay.
But a lot of people, I can say a lot of people probably would have. I don't know if they would have done.
Would have liked it.
Yeah, I don't know if people would have perceived that well, considering the fact that not a lot of people like Atreus as a character. But as far as I've heard, there are some portions of the game where you kind of take control of Atreus.
Right.
I've heard. I haven't seen it because I've taken myself away from seeing leaks or spoilers of the game.
Yeah.
But where they play on that dynamic where he is his own character and he is supposed to be Loki, but he's not.
Right.
But it's also interesting where I think you can only do Norse mythology for so long before you start to turn to another mythology where do they stop the God of War games altogether, or do you play on another mythology, on another area? Like where you could go... Where could you go from that?
The only other religion, and I mean, it's pretty much a meme at this point, because, like you said, they've done Greek, they've done Norse. Someone out there, and this is a literal meme, said, next up, God of War versus Jesus.
Yeah, but I feel like...
I don't know how that would go.
I can't say it would be good.
I think mainstream Christianity would tear that game apart.
Oh yeah, they would. Where it's like maybe you do something, and it's an overused area anyways, where you do of an older style...
kind of arcade fighting game?
No, I think that would ruin the God of War franchise, to be honest.
Where
you do sort of like the Japanese
mythology.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
But again, feudal Japan or that type of Japan is way overused in games nowadays. Because kind of like some people want Assassin's Creed to go to feudal Japan, but I think they've already done. They have the 2D style they came out with 3 2D style Assassin's Creed games, where one of them was in Russia, the other one was in Japan, and the other one was in a certain type of Egypt, I think.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember where the third one was at.
I was gonna say, I know what you're talking about. I think they actually released those for DS or something.
Yeah.
So I want to be right, but I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure those ones were made for DS stuff like that.
But where it's like, you could do something like that, but then again, eventually, I feel like all good things come to an end. But in a case of maybe you could go off and say in Norse mythology past Ragnarok.
Right.
Where maybe Kratos does end up dying eventually. Right. It may be like the next game, where Atreus is an older version of himself, not a teenager.
I was going to say, yeah, because first he was a kid.
Yeah.
Now he's a teenager. Third one, he could be an adult.
Yeah. Where he's a teenager now, finding his magic and finding what he is and finding who Loki is. Maybe in the third one, as much as I would hate to see it, because Kratos, God of War and Kratos, obviously this is one of my all-time favorite game series. but maybe you do actually kill off Kratos.
Yeah.
Not early on in the game, but eventually. Where he is an older version of himself.
Oh wait, no, that's on the Ragnarok DLC. I don't want to talk about that, but I know. Oh wait, no, you've already fought Thor, right?
Yeah, you fight Thor. You start to fight Thor early in the game.
I was going to say, because I don't know how many times you fight him, but I know
remember.
There's one part in a fight, but I don't know if you've gotten to it yet, so I don't want to say anything.
Oh, where Thor actually kills Kratos, but he brings you back to life.
Brings you back to life.
Yeah, he set
people off guard.
He set Mjolnir on your chest and literally electrocutes you back to life and say, "No,
we're not done till I say."
Yeah, we're not done. You're not dead till I say you're dead.
Yeah.
But where it's still like, you see that in these games, which is like a really interesting type of character where he's actually more progressing into being a father, but he's not also... You can see glimpses of the old God of War and the old Kratos, like the younger Kratos, the actual like rage-filled Kratos, but he's not that person anymore.
Right.
Where maybe in the third one, if they make a third one, you see that he is a much older version of himself. Where he's not... It gets really tough on him to even fight anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Where maybe the gods still go after him.
Right.
Or something. Or maybe you see almost a Greek and Norse mythology kind of combat where his
team up on him.
Where maybe Zeus comes back from being dead eventually, because Kratos has done it too. Kratos has come back from the dead.
Yeah, I kind of feel
where Zeus comes back, and then maybe Zeus, Odin, and all them people, maybe they go after him, and maybe he finally ends it. But then you go off, but then you could branch that off into more actually like Atreus games.
And what I would kind of want to see as a God of War fan, because everyone knows how we got stuck in the ground. It was Ares.
Yep.
And what I wouldn't mind seeing to end off the series is one final fight between Ares, full power, with Kratos at full power. I could.
But the only problem is I mean, yeah, you could probably bring him back to life somehow, but in the very end of that God of War game for Greek mythology, he killed everybody.
Oh yeah.
Greek mythology, he killed everybody, destroyed that mythology and left. Where do you have him do that again?
Right.
Or do you finally end his character where he teaches where he teaches Atreus how to actually be a person and how to actually use his magic properly, and he discovers that stuff on his own, and then maybe he does die. And he doesn't come back this time. Yeah. No matter how much Atreus tries, maybe he doesn't come back this time. Or maybe you see Loki, maybe the Loki side of him where he actually uses magic, where he's the god of mischief?
Yeah.
Maybe he turns on his father at some point when he's an adult.
I can see that.
So then you have to fight your son, and you don't win this time.
Right.
Where the god of mischief actually
kills you is have the gods, no matter how they write it, if they were to do this, they'd make it make sense. But like, have the gods that he's killed come back Norse-wise.
Yep.
Kinda.
The only ones he's killed so far in those games is Thor's sons.
Yeah. I mean, you could.
He killed Baldur too. He killed Baldur.
You could definitely have the gods on Norse kind of try and manipulate.
Yeah.
His son to finally set up that Kratos versus...
Especially because so far in the game, when Thor faces you, when Thor takes you elsewhere and fights, Odin actually takes Atreus aside and talks with him outside their home, where what does he actually have said to him? Mm-hmm. When he's trying to find Tyr, what has he actually said to him? Is he already starting to maybe turn him against his father?
Right.
saying your father doesn't want this for you, where you should be doing so and so whatever you want to do. Who knows? And again, I haven't gone all the way through the game, so I can't really make a justification of what happens in the game and how they end it.
Right.
You know, my opinion of this could probably change once I see the ending of the game. I don't know, but this is where I kind of interesting to see where they go from there. Where we're coming into a very big time for games, where it's like you're getting these games that we finally want to see. Like, we're finally getting a Star Wars games, where they're coming out with the next one, Star Wars Survival. Love the game. I would eventually, me personally, I'd like to see them revisit a Revenge of the Sith, where you actually maybe can influence the outcome of those movies.
Right.
Again, especially with EA not being the sole creators of Star Wars anymore, where Lucasfilms Gaming, I think so. One of the major parts now. They could have the ability to go back and be like, hey, this is how this game ended, or this is how the movies ended, but maybe you could go back to that and see those type of, maybe not the same characters, not the same people portraying the characters, but seeing like a different people character portraying them. But you could also go into a little bit of issues with receiving that like that from people, but still, you see that movie and be like, okay, here's your opportunity to change the outcome. Right. Or maybe it doesn't happen that way. Maybe Anakin doesn't return to the dark side. Maybe you can try and influence him somehow not to. Yeah. Kind of stuff. We're getting those type of games. Now we're seeing more God of War. Again,
we're going to be seeing more
Star Wars, more Skyrim. And then Spider-Man 2 is coming out eventually. I really can't wait to see that game.
Yeah, you might have to bring a game. Who knows?
Maybe we'll be doing videos on that on this channel.
Yeah. I don't know.
But you're seeing these types of games now, where you're coming back to we're actually getting some of the games we want to see. There's still plenty of games games of, like, say, games of movies, or games of other stuff, or books.
Like, I know one game that's really going to be dropping the hammer, and everyone's going to be buying that. There's another one made by Insomniac, isn't that who's making the Marvel Spider-Man?
Yep.
Yeah. They're also making the Wolverine game.
Yes. And Insomniac is doing they are so hot right now. Right. Especially doing the Spider-Man games. They did so well with that first Spider-Man game.
And with Venom.
And then Miles Morales. One. Yep, Venom being in this one.
I think Kraven the Hunter too, because it sounded like Kraven the Hunter.
Yeah. I think I've heard something like that.
Because it sounded like Kraven the Hunter was talking, and then Venom responded.
Yeah.
With yes.
Yeah. And it's also like, I still feel almost a certain way of unsatisfied of the Avengers game we got. Yeah. Where I could see maybe Insomniac does a version of maybe an Avengers type of feel.
I would love to see that. How they do that. I would love to see it.
How they've been doing their games, I could really like to see them.
Or like a Hulk game, or
a
new Iron Man, or just something.
Yeah, or even a topic that not very many gaming companies have kind of played with. I think there's been very few that do it, but it's like a small online game. Maybe somebody like Insomniac decides to drop a big bombshell when it comes to superhero games. Make a totally different superhero game that's never been created.
Right.
Let a person that hops onto the game, let them make your own superhero.
That's with what I was just thinking.
Yeah,
like
your own superhero.
Choose what universe you want to be in.
Yeah, and the choose your own universe, maybe you set it in the Marvel universe, because as far as anything goes, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the current big house over the two.
Oh yeah, and I mean,
but throw it where you kind of sit alongside the Avengers or people like big superheroes, but create your own superhero.
I mean, hell, you could even do it because there's MCU, and since it's related to MCU, you could have Andrew Garfield's universe. You could have Tobey Maguire, the Raimiverse.
Yeah.
You could have all those universes combined.
Yeah.
And you could choose, where you want to start the game off at.
Or even you could also see maybe a Spider-Verse video game, which I think would be...
I would go nuts.
That would be a good game. Seeing a Spider-Verse game. But seeing one of those games where I've always thought about this, where it's what if you... and maybe somebody's done it, but it hasn't been a big game that I haven't heard of. Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, you actually go through, create your own superhero, your own powers, choose your own powers, choose his own name, and fight alongside those big superheroes. Right. Where you feel like you're a part of it. Where you're not just playing one of those characters, where you are a character playing with them, or not playing with them, but fighting with them.
Right, and another thing that would be cool is your choices affect the heroes. So you could be just talking straight up crap to a hero, and it makes them boil it up to a point where they snap on everybody and go villain mode. Yeah, that would be sick.
Yeah, where you start out as a superhero, and eventually, if you do things wrong, you turn into a villain.
Right.
Yeah.
They keep that kind of momentum, oh, you're doing it good, and then, oh, you're doing it bad.
Yeah.
Kind of back and forth.
Where you gain people's trust, or you completely betray people, and you eventually turn into a villain.
And then, have levels to it. You could go from neighborhood hero to super, to hero.
Yeah,
to
where if you're a neighborhood hero, but things happen in your your city. Yeah,
and then,
where you actually follow them and go through with it.
You could definitely set up a grind mechanic where, you're a neighborhood hero, right? Let's say an Avengers level threat happens, and you're I don't know, do I try it? Do I not? I don't know, because I'm this level and these are the only abilities that kind of make you work for it. Yeah. But then you could easily go the villain route,
or you could go,
and be
I'm joining
villain, local thug, whatever.
Or maybe you're somebody fighting for good, but then you consider, maybe this time the heroes don't win, so maybe I should just join forces with the villains. Maybe I should join their group or whatever they're doing. Maybe join their army.
And if you're just in the middle, be an anti-hero.
Yeah, something like that too, where you have multiple options, and you could sit there and play that game for years and years and years on end.
Oh yeah,
you could go back through. You can make a new guy, make a new outcome.
Right.
Create a different guy. Create the same guy. Go through New Story Plus. Do it all again, but do it different. If I was good and I fought the villains this time, maybe I'm joining the villains and saying screw you to the heroes.
Hell, you could even have the main quest line, kind of like Skyrim mechanic, main quest line, but you could have all these different side missions and stuff like that to help you get that grind going to level up and get more skill points or whatever. Because every game nowadays has some sort of skill tree.
Skill tree, or abilities. I feel where you can still copy that, but maybe you do something different for once. Maybe you're if you set this and this and this as either your gadgets or your abilities, maybe you eventually you choose to develop something where where you don't have to, you can use the same abilities throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
If you absolutely wanted to, but you just have to fight with them and deal with it. Or you'd be no, I want something different, and you choose to make something where it doesn't give you you could do this as you're starting, and then this and this and this, where you could stay right here and it'd be totally fine throughout the game. That makes you work harder, but you could choose to make maybe I could develop this, or how Iron Man did. His suits became nanotech.
Right.
In the Marvel Cinematic Universe they did, where it's you could eventually do that, but then if you wanted to, you could still stay the same.
Right. And either use the whole Skyrim way of doing things, like main quests and side objectives, or just base it. This is going to sound weird, but I'm going to try explaining it. Base it in an open world. No HUD, nothing. You're just going around town, doing your thing. You hear commotion, let's say you're a hero, right? You hear commotion, you go down, take care of it. It's just a normal day. You don't know what's going to happen. Leave that element of surprise to throw the players off.
Oh,
because you could, like I said, you could just be, for example, if you had spider powers and you're swinging around.
Spider-Man hop off.
Right. And you're just hanging out, and out of nowhere, unexpectedly, just big alien, or, not even that, just something.
oh, something really like big happens. Yeah,
Right.
We're kind of like what Horizon Forbidden West did, where their game was like when you were in action, sometimes the HUD was there, but in other times it wasn't.
Right.
It fades off, and it's just you in the environment and you looking around, where you could do something like that, where you like know the buttons and you know what they are, and you learn at first what they do, but then maybe you can have the ability where it just goes away.
And I mean, I would do this. So, like, if you're a new player, have an option to keep the HUD on.
Yeah.
So that way you can learn the controls, and then once you're comfortable, you can just
You take it up.
Fade out.
But
so
even the big events don't make it an objective where, hey, stop
like
these
you have
people.
to do this. Like, you could sit there and just watch it all go down, or you could help the heroes or
you could help the heroes actually fight, or you could help people like get to safety and stay on the ground level and not where you could maybe you like eventually work your way into it, where if you're helping people get to safety, well, maybe there's a couple enemies that come back through where you defend them, but then eventually one of the superheroes comes down through with chasing after a huge group of enemies, and then you help it.
And like have a cutscene where they just walk in and go, "Hey, we appreciate you," and then just have them walk off or fly off or whatever.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I think that would be a really good game, which is exciting. You know. Yeah, that's
about all
that'd be great. Eventually, I'd like to see a GTA 6. Eventually, in my lifetime, thank you.
Yeah.
Where you announce it, we've been hearing leaks where you play as what? A female character this time.
Protagonist.
Instead of
with a male protagonist.
Yeah.
And you can own your own nightclub.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I know it's possibly taking place in Vice City again. That's what
I also heard possibly cities in America or cities in the U.S. Is what I've heard too.
I'm not sure though. I mean, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
But it would be great to have that game in our lifetime if we could. Because we played GTA 5 long enough.
I don't even play GTA 5 anymore.
I used to play the daylights out of it, but now it's just like GTA 5, GTA Online, and then GTA Online this DLC, and this new content, and this new content. You're milking GTA 5 for too damn long. Give us GTA 6 already. Please. Seriously.
We're begging you.
Come on.
Don't make me put on some fake tears. I got the freaking bottle to do it.
I'll bring out the world's tiniest violin. We can do it. I'll bring out the violin orchestra. Do it. Please. We're all begging you. Give us GTA 6.
Just do it.
Come on.
We just want it. I want to play it.
It's going to be great.
I want to drive around a new city. In a souped out car after I earn some money.
Yes. That's about it coming out in games, I think, for now.
Yeah. We've been going for like an hour.
Actually, almost.
Oh, wow.
Gordon. But either way, I think that's about it. We covered Elder Scrolls, we covered GTA, we covered quite a bit here in this game. In this
game.
In this episode.
I mean, it is a game called life.
We're not getting into that. We've covered a lot in this episode. If you have made it this far, I want to see in the comments what game are you most looking out for that is coming out. I want to see it. Get this video up to 10 likes if we could. If you also could run through the whole video.
Yeah.
Help us get these watch time hours up and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your mom, your dad, your brothers,
dog, your cat,
everybody.
Your goldfish.
Anybody.
Everybody.
Anybody that has a phone, share it. If you think they'll like it, share it. We're doing all sorts of kind of stuff, and eventually we'll be doing all sorts of kind of stuff on this page.
Yeah. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've had a prime bottle in the background.
Yeah, we have. I didn't see that.
I forgot about it.
Yeah, we definitely did. Prime.
You good.
You are good.
Too.
You are good. And that's about it. These videos are coming up every Friday or Saturday morning, depending on when you see them.
I mean, hey, we're being consistent. Either Friday or Saturday. So
something like that. But without further ado and further annoyance, this is going to be the end of the video here. Anything else to add, my dear friend?
Much love to everybody.
Much love, and without further anything else, we will see y'all in the next episode. Deuces.
Deuces.